welcome back to Unmuted. Today we're going to talk about the 2009 film Taken. Directed by Pierre Morel, it's a story about a father, played by Liam Neeson, an ex-CSI officer who goes on a mission to save his daughter after she's kidnapped while on a trip abroad. And he's on the clock, fighting against time to save his daughter from being sold into sex slavery. So this movie was a big hit when it came out. And it got a lot of attention because not only is it a great action film, but it brought into light the dangers of sex trafficking. The only problem is that it portrays a over-dramatized, unrealistic view of sex trafficking. Some things that it gets wrong about sex trafficking is the way that traffickers get their victims. Although kidnappings do happen, and it is a real method of it, it's not the most realistic, at least not in how the movie portrays it. In the film, the young girls are brutally, violently kidnapped from where they are staying in their residence. They are dragged from under the bed. Although this is something that could happen, again, it is over-dramatized. Usually what traffickers will do, or at least one common method of trafficking, is they will get close to their victims. They will try to create a relationship with them. And this can be known as grooming. So they'll try to blackmail their victims. They'll try to force them through violence, or they'll try to convince them that what they're doing is not wrong or that they're not going to be in any danger. But we know that's not the truth. Another thing that Taken gets wrong is the target or the type of victim that traffickers usually are interested in. So in the film, young girls are white, they come from a privileged and wealthy background, and they just happen to be on this trip abroad. They share a cab with their soon-to-be trafficker. And first of all, never share a cab with someone you don't know in a foreign place, because that's how they find out their location. So that is the realistic aspect of it. But the main thing is that this was more of an opportunity trafficking situation where they were able to kidnap them because they shared the location, they were naive. But usually what traffickers will do is target people from minority backgrounds or people of impoverished backgrounds, because it's easier to manipulate and to target their vulnerabilities. So that's another thing that's important to take into account. Another thing it gets wrong is that at the end of the movie, Liam Neeson's able to rescue his daughter, and he saves her from the situation. And this is usually not the case in real life cases because, well, first of all, the hero narrative is harmful to the cause. Sex trafficking victims and survivors, they don't necessarily rescued. They themselves escape from these situations. And they go into rehabilitation. The thing is, rehabilitation, it's a long journey. And most of the time, trafficking victims end up returning to the situation because that's how difficult recovery is. There's a lot of psychological, a lot of physical abuse that a person goes through. And when they get used to a situation, when it's something that it's all they know, that's why they return to it. And the movie doesn't portray that. If anything, it portrays a very happy ending, very Hollywood movie ending, which is exactly what this movie is. It's not to say that I don't like this movie. I actually really enjoy the action of it. I mean, the hero, aspect of it. Liam Neeson's a great action star, and he was in his prime. But when you look at it deeper, it can do a little bit more harm than good. I believe that movies have the power to educate. And although this movie does a great job of showing how an action movie should be done, it does fall flat in its sex trafficking narrative and could definitely do a lot more to improve it. A big problem is that this is all that people know about sex trafficking if they watch this movie. It's what they reference whenever someone mentions the theme of it. And in order to prevent people from thinking this is what trafficking is, we need to try and spread the word about its inaccuracies and also recommend movies, films, and books that can actually show a proper portrayal of it. Now, I do want to reiterate that this form of trafficking isn't common, but it does happen, and you have to be careful and look out for the warning signs. If you're interested in films that portray human trafficking in a more realistic way, or that portrays different methods of it, here are 3 films I recommend you watch. Very Young Girls by Rachel Lloyd, The Boys documentary released in 2020, and What Daphne Saw, which you can find on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something new, and make sure to stay informed and stay alert.